Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Ran. In this channel, I share knowledge and practical techniques on trauma healing and everything about mental health. Today, I want to talk about 6 signs that indicate that you have abandonment issues. And if this is something that you're interested in, please subscribe because you'll be notified every time I upload a video. I wanted to talk about fear of abandonment in my channel because that is something that consciously or subconsciously that insecurely attached people are all afraid of. Being aware of the way you behave and why you behave in a certain way is very illuminating in directing your healing. So let's jump right into it. The first sign is that you are preoccupied with the fear of being abandoned. Whenever the one that you are deeply connected and attached to is not around, when you haven't heard from them in a while, maybe in a couple of minutes, in a couple of hours, in a couple of days, when you're distant from them, and especially when you're alone, you have this heightened fear of being left without a notice. You start to panic when you cannot seem to figure out what they're doing and where they're going and what they're planning to do, because you're worried that you will be disconnected from them. And the only thing that can soothe you, the only thing that can settle you down is to hear from them. You need to be guaranteed and reassured exactly when they're gonna come back and where they're gonna come and meet you and what the future plan lies for you. Because the only thing that matters is that you hear from this person. You are reassured that they won't leave you. They still love you. They still wanted to be there for you. Even that wouldn't be enough. You need to wait until the actual reunion happens. And that's the time you feel like finally relieved and you can really continue your life. Before that, everything seems to be on suspension and you need to put everything on hold for this reunion to happen. And the second sign is extreme degree of neediness and clinginess. When we're triggered of this abandonment anxiety, it's so overwhelming that we automatically adopt some unhelpful reactions to prevent us from sinking deep down into this fear, into this pain. As I've talked about in my other video, there are 3 major maladaptive responses we would have. I'm going to put it up here, but in this video I wanted to specifically talk about clinginess. So when we're talking about clinginess, it means that we are so scared of losing this connection. We're so scared of being abandoned, being left without a notice. We have to desperately holding on to this person. We have to really white knuckling everything that they have, everything that they do. We have to make sure that there's nothing going wrong at all. We have to micromanage their responses to us, their moods, because we want to make sure that they're happy with our presence. Because if we do something that upsets them, there's a great chance we think that they might leave us. So we have to really just cling to them like 24/7 to a point that we don't give them room to breathe. Simultaneously, we feel this shame because we all know that being needy means somehow being unattractive, being uncharming, because we all have learned how important it is to remain some degree of mystery, to remain some kind of, just to convey the message that you're hard to get. And being needy means that you're weak. You need this person. You admit your needs to this person. But because this degree of fear, this anxiety is so overwhelming that we really don't have to carry those things anymore. And this kind of our last resort because we don't know what to do. We are desperate. Another thing that comes with neediness is this people-pleasing behavior. And this is the third sign. When we're pleasing our partner, when we're pleasing the person that we're deeply connected and attached to, we are giving up the identity of ourselves. Even though we don't have much of a strong and solid identity to begin with, we don't know who we are at all except when this person is around. Their existence, their very powerful existence, reassures of who we are, what we like, what we need to be valuable, to be accepted and approved as a human being. And this is also a codependent behavior because for codependents, the major symptom is that we give up who we are to adapt to the environment. This doesn't originate from adult relationships. When we're children, when we have to develop our identity, our entire sense of self based on how our parents want us to be. If mommy and daddy are not happy, it must mean that there's something wrong with me. So I need to walk on eggshell and change who I am, to monitor everything I say, everything I do, to please them, to make sure that they are happy so I can survive in this household. And another implication of this people-pleasing behavior is that we are putting the other party at a more powerful position, as if they're omnipotent, as if they can decide if we have the value to live, to exist at all. If they don't approve us, if they are not happy of what we say, who we represent, it's like there's no meaning in our life at all. There's no point of living because everything we do will be a shame to the world. And that is why we give up who we are to please in exchange for acceptance and safety, to be included by the world. The fourth sign is that we are obsessive about controlling our partner. When we have this fear of abandonment, we know that and we are ashamed by that. So we need to be powerful, to reject the vulnerable and ashamed part of ourselves, this weak, this dependent child inside of us. So we need to be at the upper hand, to be in control all the time. And that's why we need to control everything around us, especially the person that you're attached to. Because you figure, if I cannot control the partner that I'm closest to, there's nothing I can control in the world. And imagine how profound a scare and horror it would bring. We refuse to be at the mercy of other people. We take the upper hand, we take the initiative to control people, to tell them what to do, to manipulate them with subtle or unsubtle tactics like seducing, ghosting, like calling the bluff. We need to check their phones. We need to make sure that we know where they are all the time, to be reported to 24/7 for what they're doing, who they are with, because we dread the unknown, the instability, inconsistency. And this is where our insecurity attached styles first developed. It is in response to this pain behind the inconsistent and unstable care from our caregivers. The fifth sign is trust issues and jealousy in relationships. If we are insecurely attached, chances are that our nervous system have already prepared for us to be ready for any kind of bad signs, negative signs. So we're constantly on guard, we're constantly hypervigilant and hypersensitive towards any kind of ambiguous signs that indicate that this person might take off, might leave us. In relationships, any kind of your partner's other relationships can be really threatening to you. For example, their friends, their female friends especially, or their relationship with work, with their parents, with their brothers, sisters, just everyone, even with a stranger like they just casually talked to on the street. You start to suspect that, well, he is devoting to other kind of relationship more than he does to you. So you start to get really angry, really pissed, really insecure, and you become really crazily jealous. The thing with insecurity attached is that we are programmed to perceive relationships in a negative light. We haven't been reassured enough when we're children that the world is safe, relationships are safe. We don't have this objective eye and openness and security to believe that every relationship in our life is important in a different way. We all need different kind of relationships to provide, to meet us with different needs. We see everything in black or white. We are either addicted to, crazy about one single person, or we just don't like them, like don't really have good intentions at all. So when we see our partners having interactions with other people, we start to believe, well, this must be incredibly important to him, that he's addicted. That is a huge threat. That is the biggest sign that we're going to be abandoned, we're going to be left and replaced, because we don't seem to be important anymore, because we don't seem to grab his attention anymore, and nothing we can do. We change that, and this kind of trust issue really puts us to do more inappropriate, I don't want to say this, but inappropriate things under that situation. Maybe overreacting, maybe some destructive behaviors, sabotaging behaviors to the relationship. And I don't say this to shame anyone. I'm saying this in the most compassionate way because I have personally sabotaged my relationships for many years, and now I am aware of it, and I wanted to bring this clarity to you all to really view things in a more objective and rational way, to give it more space before you jump into conclusion, before you really act compulsively on your thoughts, on your decisions. And the last sign is that we settle in relationships even if that's not working. For the traumatized brain, it's very likely that we will pick out, based on chemistry, another traumatized brain. So we would engage in relationships, we would seek love in wrong places because we feel like we have the potential to change something about them. When we're talking about fear of abandonment, we're talking about this profound fear that we hate to admit, that we are scared to be alone, to be without relationships. That's why we cycling, jumping from relationships to relationships. We are terrified of being by ourselves, of facing the hollow, the emptiness that is too overwhelming for us to bear. And when we grow up in dysfunctional homes, when we grow up in places where we don't get enough nurturance, engagement, emotional connection, we are kind of just used to that because we think it's safe, it's familiar, and we don't know what's unknown to us, right? We have never experienced a good and close, intimate relationship. We don't know what it looks like. And that's why it's so hard to let go. It's hard to really move on because we don't know what's waiting for us on the other side. We don't really believe that we have the power. We deserve to be loved and treasured in a way we never had. It's hard to picture something you have never seen, right? So we trap ourselves in this relationship. We settle in the relationship by repetitively telling ourselves, convincing ourselves that this might change somehow. It will improve, it will get better. We believe that once we fix this relationship, everything in our life will work out. We believe this love is what's needed to rescue us, or our value lies in rescuing our partner to make them feel better, to get them, get their shits together so that we prove our value and loyalty to them, that we don't get abandoned. So the core of abandonment fear is that we are scared to face this empty sense of self because we don't have a solid sense of self. We don't know who we are. We need the other party, the person we believed can potentially provide us with warmth, with love, care, and attention, to approve our existence, to justify that we exist for a reason, to give us a reason to believe that we are valuable and lovable to the world. And they are what we need to feel safe in the world, because other than that, we don't know who else will be willing to accept us as who we are, especially when we don't really accept us. Alright everyone, I hope this video is helpful. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you wanted to see more videos like this, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.